Hi everyone, and welcome back to Balkan Sis, the show that's going to help you navigate the massive challenges of life, motherhood, culture, identity, and belonging with more ease, acceptance, joy, and purpose. Thanks to each and every one of you that come back every time to listen, learn, heal, and feel inspired. If you do love the podcast, then do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. It really does help spread the word. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful Balkan Sis episode, and number 30. Holy shit, it has been a while, I tell ya. I have been contemplating doing this episode just for so long, and it's been 7 months. It's been 7 months since I've been, let's say, I wouldn't say gone, but since I've been away in my postpartum trenches with my little baby girl, Valentina. And yeah, wow, what a wild ride. Mother of two now, got a 6-year-old and now a 7-month-old. It's just been absolutely wild. There has been so much that has happened and occurred. And when you just sit on something for so long and you just want to do it, and it never eventuates, and you never find the time for it. And yeah, it was just back to the drawing board for me in terms of my work and creativity and the ebbs and flows that is motherhood and learning to be a mum of two. So trying to find our groove, trying to find our rhythm. It's been really interesting, really challenging, and all of the above. If you have children, if you're a caretaker, even if you just have one child, you will know, obviously, the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical load that entails. But I'm super stoked. I'm absolutely so in love with her. She's got the cutest eyes and the cutest little lashes and just like curly hair. She's just so awesome. And yeah, my husband is awesome too, because obviously he's with her at the moment, and that's enabling me to record this podcast in daylight hours, because usually I have to do so much stuff at night when the kids are sleeping. And generally speaking, most of us are depleted at night. That's when we need to restore our energy and have that downtime. So otherwise we would never sleep, which most mums don't anyway. But all right, guys. So what's been happening in the world of Ivana, in the world of Balkan Sis? I also want to know what's been happening with you guys, where you've been, what you've been doing. Yeah, it has been a hot minute, and I'm ready to jump back in and catch up with you guys, communicate, get back into the community, our global Balkan Sis virtual community. And yeah, just see how you guys have been and let you guys in on what's been happening here. The emotional, mental, physical shifts that have been occurring have been huge. So yeah, this is going to be a really raw episode, definitely not scripted. I've written some stuff down, otherwise I'm going to go in loops and in rabbit holes that I will never get out of. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, this episode is going to be all about catching up with you guys, where I've been, where you've been, where the world has been the last 7 months, and all the things that have been happening. The Pope has died, Donald Trump has been elected, we had that horrible fire in Macedonia where so many young people passed away. And I send my sincere condolences to the whole community. Yeah, it's so many awful and terrible things have actually been happening. The war is still raging in Gaza. It's just, it's hard. It's hard to watch the world that is at the moment. And I think because we have social media, it opens us up to so much stuff. And so it should, because people shouldn't turn a blind eye. But at the same time, I think when you're a sensitive human or even a mum, you just feel things so deeply on such a physical level that it's really hard to watch. And a lot of people say, I don't want to have kids. Look at the world we bring them up in. The world has always been like this, unfortunately. But it's about what we do that makes a difference. Whether it makes a 1% difference or not, 0.5% difference, at least it's something. And I want to be a manifestor and a generator in that sense of putting good stuff out into the world. And that's the whole ethos behind this podcast. So for anybody who's just jumped in or hasn't listened to any other episodes, I want to welcome you guys first. I also want to welcome back any loyal listeners and people that have listened to every episode or maybe just a few or are jumping in now. I'm Ivana, and just to remind you guys quickly, my background, because I'm always assuming whoever's listening already knows the story and how this all came about. But I thought, okay, let's do a whole brand new introduction. That is me, that is this podcast and where it's going. And yeah, so I came to Australia as a child refugee 27 years ago now, which I can't believe it has been that long. And I was born in a place called Zenica in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And yeah, grew up in ex-Yugoslavia, you could say. And yeah, just a lot of feelings around that, so we all do. So you can go back to previous podcasts and listen to my story there. This podcast is, yes, also about my experiences and also ours as a collective. And I think there's just not enough Balkan-centric diaspora podcasts out there that are more geared around the experience. I think it's more geared around politics, maybe business, all that sort of stuff, very masculine. And yeah, a certain point of view, I want this to be a whole encompassed experience. I want this to be everybody's voices. Obviously, it's going to be from a female-centric viewpoint and a mother's viewpoint and how we're experiencing the current world in this current moment and obviously the past world that we come from as well and how it's shaped us to be who we are today. And I'm not the only one who's felt lost, sad, confused, feeling like I don't belong in Australia. So currently right now I'm on the Gold Coast in Australia. It's in Queensland. It's a beautiful, sunny, warm place that has also experienced a lot of bad weather in the past 2 years and has made me reevaluate why the hell I live here, because I haven't had a proper winter in 27 years. Yeah, this is about sisterhood. This is about community. This is about bringing mothers, sisters, women, young and old, all together on this forum, whether they have businesses, projects, whether their project is their children, whatever it might be, it's very heart-centered. And I just want everyone to feel like there's a place for them at this table here. Yeah, like I said, there isn't that many. For me personally, I wanted to hear from somebody like me in the community, and there wasn't that much out there. And what was out there was very male-orientated and also very politically orientated as well, which, yeah, I'm not saying I'm not that interested in politics. I am. I think you can't be where we're from and not be interested in politics. But at the same time, I don't want that to be the main emphasis. Who did what, why did all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, I want to find a way to acknowledge what has happened and also find a way to move forward. Because, yeah, I've seen firsthand what it does to people to stay stuck in those places and how it impacts mental health, how it impacts families. And it certainly impacted us as well in so many ways, even 30 years on. So, yeah, the conversations I have with people, I want them to be fun, lighthearted. Also, I want those conversations to be informative. Some are going to be more serious. Some are going to have more light twists, from influencers to chefs to cooks to mothers, whoever they are, whose ever story I find fascinating, I want to share that. And I think there's a lot of people on YouTube. There's a lot of short form content on Instagram, on TikTok, which, yeah, it's just, I'm so sick of consuming short form content. I've got to be honest with you. I feel like it fries my brain. And by the end of the night, I just don't even know what I've looked at. Yeah, at the end of the day, I also want to give back. It's not just about look at me and my life and what I'm doing. It's like I want this to be a place where I get to give back, where I get to be of service, and maybe where something that I say throughout this podcast impacts someone in a really positive way. And yeah, and obviously find a way to balance the two in terms of being creative with it, being authentic with it, and also finding ways to make it sustainable for the long run. So yeah, short story. I told you where I was born. My name is Ivana, one of 4 siblings. Came out here with my parents. My grandparents joined us after. I've got 2 littlies now, 2 little kids, Vito and Valentina, and a wonderful, cute little Italian husband who has a bald head and no hair, who's just the best ever, who's just so supportive of all of my endeavors. And yeah, It really makes me emotional talking about that because, yeah, I really lucked out in that sense. Also, don't mess with a strong Balkan sister because honestly, people say you're lucky, but I also think lucky is something that you create yourself or partially. Yeah, we have a business here on the Gold Coast. We run 2 businesses together and yeah, I have my podcast, which I absolutely love. I'm in the works of writing a children's book and my memoir one day in the future. That's still all pending because I think there's still so much to tell of my story and still so much developing. I feel like it's great to write when you're young, but also at the same time, I think it's good to let things develop and see where that road takes you. And yeah, just love collaborating with others, love hearing stories. And I think my husband hit the nail on the head a few months ago when he said to me, I figured it out. And I said, what? And he said, I think you really just like connecting with people who have a story. And it's so true because it doesn't matter what nationality they are, where they're from, whatever circumstances are. For me, it's about the story. And generally, I'm always attracted to people that have overcome something, that have gone through something, found another way. Yeah, just got to keep that hope alive. Otherwise, yeah, life doesn't make sense. So, yeah, please let me know. Obviously, once you listen to this podcast, jump into Spotify comments. You can find me on Instagram as well. I'm on Facebook under my personal name, Ivana Štrbac Alfonso, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on all the things, and send me an email even. And let me know who you are, how you are, and why you follow and what you want to hear more of. But yeah, so to circle back on from the last episode, which was last September, and now a lot has occurred. So yeah, one of them obviously being welcoming my beautiful daughter, who I had planned a home birth with. So I will have to do a podcast episode soon on my first birth story and then maybe even my second, if that's something that people would be wanting to hear. So yeah, we had paid a lot of money to a private midwife here in our town to help us do a home birth. So at first I thought, wow, that's completely nuts. But then at the same time, considering the experience I had in the hospital the first time, it actually didn't seem so nuts because a hospital is somewhere where you think would be a safe space, but in the end, it didn't feel like that for me with my first birth. I actually didn't feel safe there at all. I actually felt safer being at home for the second one. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. I was in labor for almost 2 days. By the end of it, I just really wanted pain relief. I couldn't get it until I called the ambulance, and then they gave me this funny little whistle, and that did nothing. So then I wanted to go to hospital so that I can get some heavier pain medication. And yeah, look, in the end, I was having, I don't know how to put it or how to describe it, but I was having out-of-body experiences. So I was drifting off to another place, which maybe is common or not common. And every time my sort of, I guess, spirit or soul was leaving my body, it was coming harder and harder to come back to myself. And I would say to my husband and my team, I'm back in the room, I'm back here. And they were like, what the hell is happening? And my husband was absolutely shitting himself. And every time I was moving further and further away from my body into some sort of different dimension, I knew what was happening, but I didn't. And all I could hear was her heartbeat, but almost echoing. So she was fine at this stage from what I was told. Everything was okay, but I was just really drifting. And I thought at that stage, every time I would come back, it was harder to come back to my body. And they couldn't get the epidural in, so they couldn't get the thing in my spine, which gives you that pain. Like the guy just couldn't do it every time he attempted it. And I just didn't feel safe. And I just thought to myself, go take me into a C-section. So my husband was a little bit upset because he was like, we didn't plan to end up in a C-section like we did the first time, but I made the decision. I felt empowered in that sense where I called it. It wasn't the medical team that said we should do this. So in that sense, I felt empowered every step of the way because I had made the decisions that I had made, which were best for myself in that moment. And yeah, went in for a C-section and my beautiful daughter was born. And wow, it was just one of the most, I'm going to cry. I'm a crier and I probably cry in every other episode. But yeah, that moment when your child is born, guys, there's a reason why people keep having kids, seriously, even though it's the most stressful thing you'll ever do and the most heartbreaking and awe-inspiring thing. But yeah, just laying your eyes on your beautiful little being that is your daughter or your son, it's so amazing. And I'm so glad that I did. And I'm so glad that I overcame all of my own challenges and obstacles in that first 5 years with my son and what was COVID and all that shit that went with it, to make that decision to go for the second time. And just the most wonderful thing ever that I've ever done. Yeah, for any parents out there listening, they'll understand. In between all that time, unfortunately, we had lost our aunt. So it was Andrew's uncle's wife, Auntie Leslie, and I speak about her in my last episode. And yeah, unfortunately, she passed away. So I was pretty much ready to pop. I was towards the end. I think I was maybe 36 weeks pregnant. I don't even know at that time, 34. And I gave a eulogy at her funeral. So yeah, I had to give birth after just attending a funeral, after someone's died. I was supposed to birth. It was a really weird circumstance and really confronted me in so many different ways. You learn from every single experience, and maybe in that moment you don't know what you're meant to learn from it, but afterwards you get to piece it all together. So God rest her soul. She just, had her first heavenly birthday, and I can't believe in September it's almost going to be a year that my daughter was born and that our aunt passed away. So yeah, for anybody who's in the trenches of grief right now, or dealing with grief, or whatever that grief means, it could be grieving a person that you've lost physically. It could be a person that you're grieving that you no longer talk to. Grief comes in so many different dimensions. But yeah, so we had, after that, headed into the Christmas and school holidays, into the postpartum trenches. So obviously healing from a C-section is really extreme. A lot of medication, a lot of pain medication and management for the first month. Wasn't allowed to drive. I wasn't allowed to lift. So obviously it was all challenging. And then we had Christmas, we had school holidays, which means my son was at home for almost 2.5 months, which was fine. It was just trying to juggle a newborn and my physical recovery with a very busy, active boy who just wants to go out every day, wake up and say, Mama, what are we doing today? I was like, I don't want to do anything. But, and then we lead on from there into, actually, I think I'm going to keep this episode all in one big part. I was going to go do 2 parts, but I'm already 18 minutes in and I haven't even scraped the surface. So then we were headed into January of this year, 2025, and I went in a little bit anxious. I went in a little bit stressed. Yeah, just couldn't shake it, just trying to recover, trying to adapt to life with 2, trying to mentally deal with the birth because I felt like I had failed. I was disappointed. I had spent all this money. In the end, I just got cut open anyway. So I had to deal a lot with myself in that sense, and obviously a newborn as well on top of that. And unfortunately, then I got a very sad and life-changing call, and I'm going to try really hard not to cry through this segment and overshare too much because it's also very deep and personal to the people that I love, who I want to respect. But yeah, in January, my little nephew got diagnosed with leukemia. He's only 7. He's 1 year older than my son, and it's my sister's son. I got the call at 2:00 in the morning, that morning in January, and it absolutely changed their life. It changed my life. It changed all of our lives. And when you hear the word leukemia, you hear the word cancer. Wow. I can't even describe. I think when you see circumstances happening in other families, in commercials, or you hear other people or your neighbor or the neighbor's child, or you're so far removed and disconnected that could ever even be your reality, you stop, you pause, oh, that's sad, and then you move on. When you're confronted with that diagnosis, and I was there for the first 24 to 48 hours that my sister had been admitted to hospital with him, it absolutely changed my vision. It changed who I am. It changed the way that I see the world. It changed the way that I eat, breathe, communicate. For about 2-3 months, I just could not shake it. I just could not. Every day was spent trying to just get through the day. And that compounding on top of the loss that we had already had, and plus being freshly postpartum with a brand new baby, trying to juggle my son and the baby and being there for my sister and my nephew and the family, and seeing my parents so heartbroken for their own daughter and then their daughter's son, just seeing my whole family in pieces. Oh, it just unearthed so much stuff. And I just thought to myself, God, haven't we been through enough? And I think that often, and I know other people think it often as well, come on, enough is enough. How many more blows can I get? And I guess there's no prerequisite, there's no rules when it comes to that in terms of who gets what and why. And yeah, it just made me lose my faith in God. It made me question everything. Why him? Why us? Why my sister? Absolutely no answers as to where it's come from. It's just a matter of luck, as the doctors say. And yeah, it was just a really horrible, hard period in all of our lives, and it still continues today. His treatment is going to go on for years, and then remission is going to be who knows how long. And yeah, I just want to say, for anybody who's going through it, either they have cancer themselves or a parent or a child, it's just, yeah, my heart will never be the same. And yeah, I don't want to go into it too deep because it's not my story to tell. And also, I'm very vigilant to my sister's privacy and my nephew's privacy. And I can talk about the effects on us and aunties and uncles and family, but I'll leave that for another time, because otherwise, I won't come back from this. Yeah, when it comes to children, when it comes to our kids, any kids, my kids, your kids, my sister's kids, it's just a whole other feel. And yeah, I had originally booked tickets for my sister and I to watch Dr. Gabor Maté. So if you don't know who he is, he basically talks about trauma and healing and addiction and things like that. He's very well known in that field. If you don't know who he is, you can always check him out on Google. Last year, I had bought tickets for my sister and I to go and attend. He was actually coming to the Gold Coast. All of his other tickets were sold out. So I thought, wow, amazing gift to give to my sister. And yeah, she was really excited, really stoked to see him live. And unfortunately, it all just collided the way that it did. And we didn't end up going together because it was just around the time of my nephew's diagnosis. So I actually ended up taking a really good friend of mine. I was lucky enough to be able to have the microphone, be passed over the microphone and ask him some questions. I think I shared it on my Instagram, on my stories. It might be in one of my highlights. But basically, I broke down, started to cry in front of thousands of people. And I was trying to hold it all together. And the question was meant to be around having a boy, raising a son, the schooling system and institutions which don't uphold the development of young boys and men, and how they are punished, for being who they are, especially at the age of 6. It's pretty insane. A lot of ADHD diagnosis is happening in schools at the moment. And this is in the Western world. So I'm talking about from the Australian perspective. I don't know what happens in Europe with schooling and children and diagnoses, but here it's very common. And anyway, so we're having some issues with the education department, and I was supposed to ask some questions around that. And I don't know, the words just came out of me, came flooding out. I had asked him about how do we carry our own emotion while we are supposed to be the adults helping our children. If I show emotion, if I'm crying and absolutely fucking losing it, like, how's that impacting my child? How's that impact? But I can't help it, right? It would come like I'd be driving and I'd hear a song and I would just lose it. And I was thinking about my nephew, like day and night, every single day. We had his t-shirt, we were hugging it every night because we were just so scared. There was a lot of questions about death and my son trying to understand, is his cousin going to pass away? What's going to happen? Mum, why is he unwell? Why did he get sick? There's a lot of big questions. And it really triggered us in so many ways. And I had to just try and understand, first of all, how I was meant to feel about all of that, and then also how to help him regulate his emotions. And it was a brand new, complete new situation. So it's not like it was something we had been through before. And basically, Dr. Gabor Maté just said to me, it's not your job to protect your kid. It's not your job to protect him from reality. And the best thing that you can do is feel your feelings, whatever that looks like and whatever that means. So when he sees you feel your feelings, it will grant him and allow him permission to feel his feelings. So that was, that was the short answer of it. There was also a lot more to that. I told him I felt defeated. He told me that's just my perception, that I'm actually obviously not defeated. It's just a matter of perspective. But in that moment in time, I felt absolutely just defeated and just beat down by life in general. I just thought, like, why not come for us? Why come for the children? Just, it unearthed a lot in us. But so that was, I might actually do an episode about that and about his response. I did ask him to come on the podcast. I have got an email back, so I do have to respond to that. That would be really bloody cool and awesome if I could get him on there. But yeah, so then I had my birthday around that time, maybe not even a week later. It was my birthday, and it was a little bit strange to celebrate and share a birthday when I knew my nephew was really unwell. It's a really weird time. And people saying, you still got to do something, you still got to celebrate. But I just wasn't in a celebration mood. Like, how could I celebrate when my nephew was battling the biggest fight of his life? And my sister was kind enough to buy me a Ancestry DNA kit, which is really cool. And I'm happy to confirm that I'm 100% Balkan. So I'd say it's like 55% Croatian and the rest Balkan region. So, basically my ancestors didn't go far. Let's just put it that way. I was hoping maybe I would have 1% Portuguese, 1% Spanish, like something really cool. But no, guys, like my ancestors did not travel far. That is the area I come from. So it's really funny because I bought one for my best friend and she pretty much got the same result, and her reaction was really funny. And I thought to myself, I wonder what mine would be like one day. So it's something that you don't really buy yourself. It's something that other people buy you. So yeah, if you are looking for a cool present, definitely get that. Obviously, disclaimer, like there can be results that, can shock people as well. So I have bought them as a few presents for others. But yeah, so more on that whole DNA side next time. But yeah, so March had come around. Me and my hubby celebrated 17 years. Wow, almost 20 years with the same person. And I'm only 37, like far out. That's insane. Maybe it's not that common these days because, yeah, who wants to be in a long-term relationship, hey? It takes effort. It takes guts, glory, and effort. And for anyone who's been in a relationship for a long time will tell you the amount of times you fight, you gather, you regroup, you bicker, you make up, the amount of times you go backwards and forwards, like sometimes even on the same things for years, is just wild. So, yeah, 17 years. Happy anniversary to my hubby. That was in March, and June comes up our wedding anniversary, which I think is, God, how many years is that now? Like 12? I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, a lot of reflection on dreams and questions about the future, and it was a really weird time. Then came along, sorry to swear, guys, Cyclone fucking Alfred. Okay, we had a cyclone hit the Gold Coast. Like, it was probably one of the worst ones that we've had in, 20, 30, 40 years. We've been here for 27 years. We've never had a cyclone, really. We had a tornado a couple of years ago, which did a bit of damage and destroyed our house and many other houses on the street. So we had, no food, no power. Like we did, obviously, yes, like you had food. The shops were closed, power. We had lost power for 4 days. My parents, 7, some people even longer. And I got to tell you, it unearthed some stuff. It wasn't even about the power or anything like that, or not being prepared, over-prepared. It was totally about just bringing back many memories from the war for us as children and for my parents as well. And watching your children like go through that experience as well, far more stuff come up on top of all the other stuff that had already been coming up for months before that. So it just felt like it was compounding, just going one on top of another, like cake stacks. And yeah, I just remember my mom, one of the most powerful and sad moments was when my mum and dad, I got them that day and they slept at my house that night. And I thought, geez, if we're going to go, we're just going to go all together. Let's all just be in the same house, and God knows what will happen. If the roof will come off, we have no idea. So my mum had come to my house and my dad, and they had already lost power. And they're walking and my mum's got all these bags. And like the way we deal with some stuff in our family is through humour. So, she's, once a refugee, always a refugee, because she's carrying all these bags and they've got no power. We had power, so we thought, look at us, we're doing pretty well. Next thing, we lose power within like maybe half an hour, and we set up my dad in the garage, which was really funny, on a really cheap table, just from a local Bunnings, which is like a Bauhaus, like a hardware store. And we had this table, we set him up, he brought his laptop, because if a quintessential Balkan father, he has the laptop, the cigarettes, the slippers, the shoes, the socks. and he's wearing like this leather jacket. Oh no, his bathrobe, I can't remember. So he's sitting there smoking in the garage. It was the only dry place, and obviously inside the house. Outside was just nuts. You couldn't go out there. And we set up my dad, and we took this picture of him holding a cigarette. My husband was behind him, and he took a photo. We were having a laugh. And next thing, not even within half an hour, boom, just we lose power. And my son just starts to cry. He just starts to cry, and he's just so scared, and he's yelling and he's screaming and he's having a meltdown. And my mum, being my mum, as Balkan mums are, they think they're funny sometimes. So she's, oh, there goes the power. Like just bringing back so much bloody trauma, but dealing with it with humour. And she tries to hug him, and he's running towards me, and I'm just, oh God. And we've got this little baby now who doesn't want to sleep, who doesn't have her sound machine. And my father, who's usually on the laptop smoking, all of a sudden he can't go outside to smoke. He's not allowed to smoke inside because it's my family, it's my home. I'm not going to have you smoke inside. He smokes inside his house. Yeah, it was an interesting and challenging experience to have with my parents, and just to see how wounds show up as well. And that night, yeah, it was really strange and really scary because it was absolutely pitch black everywhere, just pitch black everywhere. And funnily enough, my neighbors were having a party. I have no idea how they were running the music and what the hell was happening. And we filed so many complaints for them partying next door, being so loud and disrupting the children. I was actually pretty happy that they were partying, because it was like, okay, there's some life out there, because everything was pitch black. So we had no service on our phones. We were completely disconnected. Couldn't text, couldn't call, nothing like that. Just had a few candles laying around. Obviously, a few days before that, we had tried to get prepared and prepare the house and prepare as much as you can with 2 small kids as well, and the whole situation, everything that was happening. And yeah, so we just had some candles around, and my mum was hugging my son, and he was crying, and it was hard for him to go to sleep, and I was just trying to comfort him. And unfortunately, yeah, it was a really wild, crazy experience that I would not want to repeat again. Do not recommend. My little brother had actually invited us to go stay at his in-laws to try and avoid the cyclone. But I guess when you've got your own house, you've got your own. And once again, it just takes me back to the war days and how it would have felt for my parents, how it would have felt for my grandparents, your great-grandparents, your parents, whoever, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, whoever it might be, how it felt for them to leave their homes, how it felt for them to be ambushed out, to be forced out, to maybe have even stayed and lost their lives. It just really, it gives you that perspective on how lucky we are. And also how that can happen at any stage, anywhere in the world, at any time. That it just made me think I'm not safe anywhere. I'm not actually even safe here, because we thought, oh, here is a safer place to live. Like here there is no war, and here it is peaceful and freedom and all that sort of stuff. But then there's other things that can occur, like severe weather events and other things that can occur that can threaten your safety and your freedom. So I think no matter where you are, there's just no certainty that anything is ever going to be okay. And I think when you've had the childhood that we have had, that's a really scary notion to battle with. And no matter how many things you have done to prepare, it's more so the feelings. And no matter how much therapy or work or whatever you've done on yourself, and healing is a constant road. It's a journey. I don't think you ever really quite get there. I think you just get better at dealing and coping with things. But when you already feel vulnerable and fragile and sensitive to other things that have been happening, and it's all compounding, it can really, mentally be disruptive. Yeah, that night it was really hard to watch my mum. She hugged my son and she actually started crying. And I have never really seen my mum cry. So to see her crying and to hear her sort of weeping while she's holding my son, it just brought back so many bad memories. Like I saw him and it's like I saw me. It was like I was seeing a little me, and I was having this flashback imagery of my mum hugging me, but it's my son. And she's hugging him, she's holding him, and we don't know what the hell is supposed to be happening. I was trying not to cry. I was trying to be strong for everybody and just all that stuff. And okay, let's get some rest, let's get some sleep, just trying to be optimistic. That night it was supposed to rip through, I don't know what time in the morning. And I just thought, I can't fall asleep. I have to stay awake, because if I fall asleep, God forbid something happens and I'm not prepared. And that was just really, yeah, that's how I felt since I was 6 years old. And like that feeling just like never goes away. And I had a friend reach out to me like maybe 2-3 days. No, it was, I think, even after the cyclone had happened. Her name is Boyana. She's amazing. And Boyana, if you're listening, yeah, thanks for being in touch with me and going through that experience together, because it really helps when there's that common understanding and you're talking to somebody who can validate your feelings. Because, you know, as much as you're resilient or resourceful or whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that things aren't scary. And yeah, Boyana had reached out to me, and I think it was once we got reception back up and running, or electricity, I can't remember. And she just said, oh my God, the eerie feeling in the atmosphere. My son and I have a fruit shop nearby, and we had gone there like during the outage, the blackout, and there was just water everywhere. It was like an end of world movie, literally exactly like that. And my son is there, and everyone's got torches, and people are trying to buy what's left. And it just felt like at any moment, if there was weapons, there would have been a whole violent outbreak. That's how it felt. It just felt like people would actually fight over a watermelon, or people would actually fight over a loaf of bread. So we tried to do what we could. We were lucky enough that I always buy more than enough bread. I always buy more than enough flour. Obviously, being Balkan and like preserving things and keeping things and recycling things, you always have stuff in your house. So we were able to help our neighbors, and then my in-laws were able to help us with gas. Their friends didn't lose power in another area, so they were able to lend us a generator so we could at least fire up the fridges and charge our phones. So it was really in those really hard moments that people were banding together and trying to help each other, but you can also see how people could do the opposite, and that was quite scary. Obviously, no traffic lights were functioning, working. Yeah, just as an adult dealing with that, it's fine, but at the same time, when you've got little kids, it was a really mentally stressful situation. And I can just imagine being a mum now myself, how my mum would have experienced the war with us children, 3 kids plus afterwards. My brother was born in Germany, but to be forced out and to have 3 of us, to have my cousins as well and my grandma, and just running into the middle of nowhere and being ambushed out and having 3 little children, being scared and vulnerable, and man, whew, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think it's a whole other episode for another day. And I think I might have Boyan on so we can discuss all of that, because at the time we were just too raw. We just couldn't do it. So now that we've had a minute and we've regrouped, I think it'd be really good to have her on so that we can discuss how things that happen to us today as adults can trigger the little child in us, and how it impacts us as parents as well, parenting these little children now through all these challenges. Yeah, man, that was intense. That was really fucking intense. And I would have loved to have shared everything in the moment, because there was also so much that had happened that I would have loved to have shared, but it was, yeah, no connection, no communication with the outside world. Just, it's wild that in modern day society, Australia, in a city, glitzy city like this, that could ever happen. But there you go. It can happen anywhere and to anyone. Yeah, so yeah, when all of that stuff happens and all the layers get stripped back, you truly see what matters and who matters, who is willing to cook for you or lend you a hand or give you a battery pack or help you with your children or whatever the things might be. You really see who cares. You really see who steps up. And all the people that are in your life, you look around, you're like, where are they? Where are all these people? When you need shelter, when you need food, when you need water, whatever it might be. Yeah, it was a reset in that sense, where you really just had to get down to the nitty gritty and really just figure out what matters. So there was a lot of big conversations with me and my husband in those early mornings where everything was pitch black. What are we doing with our lives? Obviously, you should make decisions from irrational times like that, but at the same time, it was an awakening for both of us, a true awakening. Like, we get one life. How do we want to see the next 5 to 10 years? How do we want to see the next 10 to 15 years if we're lucky enough to be alive and healthy? Yeah, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, has a special way of delivering silver linings and bringing new people into your life, into your circle, has a funny way of bringing out the goodness that is in life and in the world. And we had an amazing, incredible community that wrapped us within their arms during the cyclone, and they know who they are. And I'm super grateful for that. And in between all that weird, funny time, we were planning to, in April just past, to go to Sydney. Vito was a page boy in Andrew's cousin's wedding. So the cousin was getting married and we weren't sure whether we were going to be going because of my nephew's diagnosis. I didn't want to be away from my sister and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but anyway, I was randomly on Instagram at one stage and I come across, because I was following Balkan Dad, and he made a video clip about a awesome store called Rosadora Imports in Cogra in Sydney, which is where we were going to be staying. And I thought, like, oh, this is so cool. I wonder if they do deliveries, because I want to support local business, whether it's where I live or in another city. And I actually reached out to Rosadora Imports in Cogra, and Nicola, the owner, it's a family-run business. His daughter responded to me and she runs the socials. Her name's Yasmina. And got chatting, hit it off, and I said to her, look, I want to make an order. I want to support your business and other Balkan sisters and families who are in this line of business. And obviously I love all of our stuff that we grew up with as kids. And yeah, she was kind enough to just send me a whole box. She also has another business called JMD Sensations, which shows she has a pharmaceutical background. And I do have to give her a shout out. I really do, because credit where credit is due. When people are good to you, you have to show your gratitude. And in that moment, like, just sparked a new friendship, and it was awesome and got along so well. We ended up meeting in person just about a month ago or so when I was in Sydney, which was so cool. Shared it a little bit on my Instagram as well. But yeah, Yasmina had sent me and my family a whole box, and also for my nephew who was going through chemo at the time, full of like childhood goodies like Kiki and Negro Bombone, like all the little bonbons, and just so many, like Brazzo and Seca chocolate, and just so many cute and yummy things that you can't just get from anywhere. And we live in quite a coastal town, so there's quite a lot of tourism here. So the Balkan sort of influence isn't as strong here where I live, because there's a lot of Asians and a lot of Australians and quite a lot of people just coming for holidays. And I had gone to her JMD Sensations to show my gratitude. I was like, I'm going to buy a box of things as well, all these beautiful scents and diffusers and things, which, mind you, she ships to anywhere. So she has a pharmaceutical background, and the smells that she creates are just bloody awesome. It's all natural, so no toxic stuff. So I had actually given some like bath bombs and bath diffusers to my sister, and these like little like bath bombs and shower things you could put in the shower and make it smell really nice. So that was really amazing. Like, just seeing people who I don't even know, who I haven't even met, supporting me and my family, and also just struck up a new friendship out of nowhere, which was so awesome. So Yasmina, if you're listening to this, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate you and your family business. Yeah, just another awesome Balkan sister, like just doing cool things with herself. So please go to Rosadora Imports. If you're in Sydney or nearby, they're in Cogra, New South Wales. You'll also, if you want to purchase things online, reach out to them. Maybe Yasmina can do something for you. It's funny because her dad is really old school and he doesn't want to do online orders. He doesn't want to go online. He just believes in people coming in and shopping, like physical shopping. So yeah, she had to sneak that one. So maybe if you're lucky, she can sneak in some stuff for you as well. So if you're in other parts of the world or in other parts of Australia and you're listening now, just reach out to Yasmina from Rosadora Imports, and also follow her along on JMD Sensations to get a Mother's Day present. Also, yeah, she can post it anywhere, so it doesn't have to be in Sydney. And you know that I love supporting, we have small businesses. I love supporting other small business as well, especially when it's within our community. And another special person I want to thank for helping me get through all that shit was the Lepa from Baba's Chocky Milk and Burek on Wheels. And yeah, just like people who have become such dear friends. They actually came to my baby shower last year, flew in just for 2 days just to see me and have a dance and have coffee together. And just, yeah, Baba is so awesome. She's such a boss, you guys. If you haven't tried Baba's Chocky Milk, I don't know what you're waiting for. This is none of this is a paid or sponsored thing. This is just genuinely me liking things and wanting to talk about it and wanting to mention these people, because if you have your own business or you run projects or whatever the circumstances are, the amount of time and effort it takes to make anything happen, like to even just sell one product, never alone multiple products. and to find the audience for it as well. So yeah, Bubba's Chocky Milk is this like awesome chocolate milk in a pink can. That's so delicious, not too sweet, because a lot of the chocolate milks that you taste are like, just a little bit too much. So you shake it, like you can have it in the fridge and you can put ice with it, whatever, however you want to drink it. It's the first chocolate milk in Australia that's in a can, which is super, super cool. And yeah, Lepa does these awesome pitas, bureks, whatever you want to call them. It's so controversial. I actually want you, if I put up this clip on Instagram and I do a mini reel from it, so in the comment section you can make a comment or write me a message, whatever it might be. We say, being born in Bosnia, we say pita, okay? So pita, burek is with meat. And then we have specific names for ones with spinach and ones with cheese, whereas some people call it as actual pita. So burek sa mesom, burek sa sirom. So it's funny because, yeah, Lepa she sent the comment section wild. I think she had about 200-300 comments of people just fighting about the proper terminology of pita, if it's a pita or a burek. When it's actually, in fact, all the same thing. But yeah, terminology for our people is a big thing. It's actually quite funny. I think we should just definitely be fighting about more important things than food. But yeah, Lepa is super cool, super sweet. And her mum, which is Baba, just a force of nature. Like that generation, she's got all these awesome smoothie recipes, which now I'm also drinking. So yeah, hop online, support their business, support their page, and just get behind them. This is all just people that I'm loving online and communicating with. And yeah, like I said, none of it is sponsored or paid or anything like that. But I do have a special shout out for a wonderful young lady who I want to take a moment to shine a light on her beautiful small business. She's another wonderful Balkan soul. So this is my first, I guess you could say, endorsement, ad, sponsor, whatever you want it to be. Her name is Petria. She is based in Sydney. Amazing young lady. Studio Petria. So she's got 2 little young kids. She's based in Sydney. And if you're a parent, an aunt, a teacher, a godparent, anyone who wants to keep our language alive, then this is for you. So Petria creates custom Macedonian, Croatian, Greek, and Serbian flashcards. They're designed for little ones and for anyone wanting to connect with their roots. So these cards aren't just words, they're legacy. So they're basically these cute little cards, almost like deck cards, like for playing cards, but with the language that you have chosen. I have Croatian ones for Vito and Valentina. And they come in really awesome little packaging, and the art and the graphics is absolutely amazing. And you pull out these cards and it's got the words on there and the pictures. So if you go to my Instagram, I've done a post about it and you can actually see it's hard to describe it via a podcast. But as Petria says in her own words, this is for our children and for our children's children, for our babas, for our ancestors, and for the people who came before us. So she's not just creating a product, she's continuing a lineage, which I think is super powerful. You can feel the emotion in her voice when she talks about her inspirations on her own Instagram. And she's doing this so the language of our ancestors don't get lost, so that even if you're far from the homeland, you can bring those words and culture and that connection into your home. So please support her work. It's more than just a store, it's a movement. Head to www.studiopetria.com or obviously follow her on Facebook or Instagram. She's on TikTok as well. You'll be touched, I promise. And it's an awesome way to honor our roots, for our kids to speak the language, and an amazing way to honor our babas and all the generations to come. So please, visit Studio Petria. Awesome vibe, beautiful mother, 2 little kids. She's an absolute powerhouse. And thank you, Petria, for trusting me to do a little something for you. I've loved playing with the flashcards, and my niece as well loves them. I did order actually even a really cute little necklace. So there is other items that she sells in conjunction with the flashcards. So the flashcards are the main thing, but there's also some really sweet things in there that I purchased. So mention Balkan Sis 10. So that basically means that gives you 10% off at the checkout. You can also reach out to her and mention Balkan Sis 10. So that's our code for you to receive your discount, which is really awesome. I think they're super affordable anyway, but she was kind enough to give us a little discount code for you guys to use via this podcast, because I know that this podcast gets listened to all over Australia, Canada, Europe, America, Croatia. There's so many countries. There's even some really strange countries where I think, wow, there's Balkan people there. That's wild. I think it was Africa, which I thought was really cool. So anyway, if you want to support another Balkan mama, another Balkan sis in business, I definitely encourage you to use that code. It's going to run out at the end of the month, so it's only a special for this month. Like I said, if you want your Mother's Day's coming up, so if you want your other half to buy you something really cute and nice, you don't have to be a child to use it, by the way, as well. You can be an adult. Maybe you're trying to improve on your language skills. Maybe you're planning to return back home someday, wherever home is, and you want to learn the language. So this is a really great and interactive tool where you actually we're all different learners. And if you learn by seeing, which is also how I learn, kinesthetic learner, you will open up these cards and it will help you rather than, I guess, you trying to do a course online. So anyway, thank you for Petria for trusting me to do a cute little ad for you and for working together with me and sending me those amazing goodies. Yeah, look, the little things that have been bringing me joy lately, I've got to share, because it can't all be doom and gloom and just me crying the whole time. So it was funny just the other day, my son and I, so we were sitting down and we were using these little flashcards and we were just having some playtime and trying to do the language. And because obviously his dad, my husband, doesn't talk Croatian, it's all on me to carry on this legacy. It's just so much pressure, but also such a privilege to try and pass down the language, which we all know isn't that easy to learn. And the marbles came out from this weird little play box thing that we had. And we actually started playing with the marbles. And he's, Mum, did you play with marbles when you were little? And I'm like, yes, I did. We used to play in the dirt and just have these marbles, which we call clickety. And I used to play with my cousins, my boy cousins. And we used to dig a little hole and play with these marbles. It's just funny how little things like that can take you back to your own childhood, into a whole other dimension, into a whole other world that will probably never be. And some of the other things that I've been loving is, so we've been going to a lot of comedy, me and my husband. So we love my cousin Vlad. He's another Balkan creator who's a dad, who's got 2 little ones as well, who's doing really epic things on the Australia comedy scene. And we know that a lot of guys that do comedy in the Balkan world can be a little bit condescending. Yeah, I've been loving listening to his podcast. Also, I've been listening to Diaspora Speaking with Rena. She's amazing. Yeah, she is just absolutely so talented, honestly. Her whole podcast and the way she structures things and the things she talks about are really important and really moving. And I always learn something new from her. Yeah, head over to Diaspora Speaking, wherever you get your podcasts from. You can connect with her on LinkedIn as well. She shares a lot of blogs and a lot of stories as well from the Kosovo region, and also her childhood, like her growing up in Germany, now her living in London. Yeah, huge, massive shout out to her. It's been an honor getting to know her and chatting to her as well. It's really cool to be in touch with other people who are podcasting, because it can be quite lonely as well to do this. And looking forward to future podcast guests and stories from our community. Obviously, some episodes are going to be solo. Some episodes are going to be with someone else, whether it be a local person, whether it be an international person. Obviously, trying to coordinate times can be quite challenging, because in America, they're a day behind us. So I'm actually in the future. So that can be really challenging, especially if they've got little children. I've got little children, and then trying to coordinate a time can be really tricky. Also with Europe, there's an 8-hour difference there. This is all the things that you have to navigate and plan before you talk to someone. You can't just call someone out of the blue when they're sleeping and you record a podcast. There's definitely a lot of people there in my WhatsApp waiting to confirm times and dates. So yeah, if you do love on some Balkan creators and people from our community, whether they be female, like even if they're not from the Balkans or they're not from our heritage or our culture, but even if it's someone that you think is cool and would be worth of value, because obviously every conversation I have, I learn from somebody and they learn from me and vice versa. And it's just about adding value. So yeah, some guests I might have on might not be from the diaspora, but might have knowledge of our area or our region and our people and would bring value anyway. So yeah, look, there's a lot happening there. There's a lot of conversations happening at the moment. So I will share those in the near future. Like, just go on Instagram and we can chat on there. Just send me a DM. Like I said, you can reach out. I'm everywhere. Another really cool thing that happened was I was on SBS Croatian. So I got invited to be on a panel to speak on what it's like being a mother, like a working mum, whether it's working for someone else, working for yourself, with little children, and the next election. So we've just had Labor be voted back in. So if you don't know anything about Aussie politics, obviously there's two big parties and then always the other parties as well. So the same people have been re-elected. There's a lot of emotions and feelings about that. And yeah, I got invited by Mariana, who is the host of SBS Croatian, which was really awesome to talk to her. And I hope that we get to have more future conversations as well. I think I've shared the link on my Instagram and on LinkedIn as well, so that you can listen to that if you understand the language. It wasn't my native tongue. So I was a little bit, look, I'm good at talking. My proficiency is awesome. But when it comes to talk about politics and like really heavy topics, I do have to think a little bit extra, use more extra brain power. So I hope I've done myself justice and other mums as well. It was awesome to hear the other two ladies because they were only in Australia for 2 years and the other one has been here for 8 years. So it was awesome to hear their perspective as well. And it was an honor to be invited to be on the panel. So I hope that I get to do more of that. And yeah, more speaking engagements, writing my book, getting that out there. Super excited. So yeah, once all of those developments happen, I will happily share them with you on here. Yeah, and just look, to wrap it up, if you want to collaborate, if you want to be a sponsor, if you want me to do an ad for you on this podcast to help boost your business, share your story, just get in touch, because yeah, I want to get this out there to as many people as I can, to as many sisters as I can. Like I said, there's not that many of us doing this on podcasts. Majority of all the podcasts are very male-centered. There's not that many women that represent our voices, I would say, within the community in a fun or lighthearted way, maybe. So yeah, I would definitely love to collaborate. Also, big life update. We're in the process of sorting out our Croatian citizenship. So I already have mine, but I'm in the process of getting it for my children and also my husband. Yeah, so it's been a journey of identity, belonging, and returning to our roots. It's just been a big mixture of things. So I hope that some part of that is going to resonate with you. And once again, thank you for listening, supporting, and showing up, especially through all the chaos that is today's world. If you want to support this podcast, you can buy me a coffee. I will share the link. So basically, it's just a really cool way to support other creators and their podcasts or whatever projects they're working on, to help support them financially, because yeah, all of this takes time to put together and to get to you. And obviously passion is what drives it, but I still have a young family and these kids, look, they're not that expensive. They're not, but we all have to earn money. That's just like that. The whole juxtaposition of things, isn't it? We have to pay our bills. Me as a mother moving forward, as a former refugee, now you've got to find ways to make things sustainable and productive. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people who listen are doing also some amazing things, which I'm happy to support too. So yeah, definitely you can jump on all my links on Instagram and buy me a coffee on there, whether it's $2, $5, $10, whatever you want to donate, more than welcome to. If not, just share this podcast with anybody that you think it will resonate with. And so make sure you keep in touch and you reach out. And yeah, I better run. I've got a little one who's waiting for me, and my son will be finishing school soon. The jobs never end, and it's tough, but it's also rewarding. So I can't wait to hear from you guys in the next episode, and we'll be in touch soon. And thanks for being here. Mwah. Do widzenia. So that was the episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And as ever, if you did, please consider sharing it with your loved ones and leaving me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It really does make a difference to the number of Balkan sisters that we can reach with the brilliant wisdom that my guests and I share. Thanks for being here. I do widzenia.